Have you ever wondered if something as simple as a daily beverage could influence some of the most powerful biological systems in your body? Not just your metabolism, not just your energy levels, but the very stem cells that help repair tissues throughout your life. And what if the same drink was also associated with biological environments that may make it harder for abnormal cells to thrive? That sounds like the kind of headline usually reserved for sensational claims. Yet researchers studying nutrition, aging, cellular repair, and cancer biology have uncovered findings that surprised even many scientists. Because one of the most widely consumed beverages on Earth contains compounds that appear to interact with stem cells, blood vessels, inflammation pathways, metabolism, and cellular defense systems in remarkable ways. The drink is green tea. And while no beverage is a miracle, no food can guarantee protection from disease, and no single habit determines your future health, the science behind green tea has become one of the most fascinating stories in modern nutrition research. Today, we're going to explore what researchers have discovered about green tea, stem cell function, healthy aging, metabolism, and cancer-related biological pathways. Some of the findings are unexpected. Some challenge long-held assumptions, and one discovery may completely change how you think about what happens inside your body every time you take a sip. To understand why scientists became interested in green tea in the first place, we need to go back several decades. Researchers noticed something unusual. Certain populations with high green tea consumption often showed patterns of health and longevity that seemed difficult to ignore. Of course, many factors contribute to health outcomes. Diet matters, exercise matters, sleep matters, social connection matters, genetics matters. But researchers kept seeing green tea appear in studies examining healthy aging. Naturally, scientists wanted to know why. What exactly was inside this ancient beverage? And this is where the story takes an unexpected turn. For years, most people thought food simply provided calories and nutrients. Protein built tissue, fat stored energy, carbohydrates fueled activity. Simple. But researchers later discovered that foods and beverages contain thousands of bioactive compounds capable of interacting with human biology in sophisticated ways. Green tea turned out to be especially rich in these compounds. Among the most studied are molecules known as catechins. One particular catechin, called EGCG, became the focus of intense scientific investigation. Scientists found that EGCG appeared capable of interacting with numerous cellular pathways involved in inflammation, oxidative stress, metabolism, blood vessel function, and cellular communication. In other words, green tea wasn't merely providing hydration, it was delivering biological signals. And those signals may influence how cells behave. However, that's not the most interesting part. The real excitement began when researchers started examining stem cells. Most people rarely think about stem cells, yet these remarkable cells are essential throughout life. They serve as a repair system. They help replace damaged tissues. They contribute to healing. They support regeneration, and they play an important role in maintaining healthy function as we age. Unfortunately, aging affects stem cells. As the years pass, stem cell activity often declines. Researchers have observed reductions in regenerative capacity in many tissues. This decline is believed to contribute to some aspects of aging. The body becomes less efficient at repairing itself. Recovery takes longer. Tissue maintenance becomes more challenging. Scientists have spent years trying to understand how lifestyle factors influence stem cell health. Exercise emerged as one important factor. Sleep appeared important as well. Nutrition also entered the conversation, and that's when green tea began attracting even more attention. Several laboratory and animal studies suggested that compounds found in green tea may support environments favorable to healthy stem cell activity. Researchers observed effects involving cellular signaling pathways associated with survival, maintenance, and regeneration. Evidence suggests these compounds may help reduce excessive oxidative stress, one of the biological processes that can impair stem cell function over time. Think of oxidative stress like biological wear and tear. Your body naturally produces reactive molecules during metabolism. In moderate amounts, these molecules are normal and even useful, but when they accumulate excessively, they may contribute to cellular damage. Scientists have observed that stem cells appear particularly sensitive to these conditions. Green tea's antioxidant compounds may help support the body's natural defenses against this stress. But researchers discovered something even more surprising. It wasn't simply about reducing damage, it appeared to be about improving communication. Cells constantly exchange signals. They tell neighboring cells when to grow, when to repair, when to rest, when to activate defense mechanisms. Healthy aging depends in part on maintaining these communication networks. Studies suggest green tea compounds may influence some of these signaling systems in ways that support cellular resilience. And resilience may be one of the most important concepts in longevity science. Not perfection, not immortality, resilience, the ability to adapt, the ability to recover, the ability to maintain function despite challenges. Yet the story becomes even more fascinating when we examine blood vessels. Most people think stem cells operate independently. In reality, stem cells exist within specialized environments, often called niches. These niches help determine how stem cells behave. One critical component of many stem cell niches is blood supply. Healthy blood vessels deliver oxygen, they transport nutrients, they remove waste products, they support cellular communication. Without healthy circulation, tissue maintenance becomes much more difficult. Researchers studying green tea found evidence suggesting its compounds may support vascular health through several mechanisms. Studies have associated green tea consumption with improved endothelial function. The endothelium is the delicate inner lining of blood vessels. When functioning properly, it helps regulate blood flow, inflammation, and vascular flexibility. This matters because healthy circulation supports nearly every organ system in the body. The brain depends on it, the heart depends on it, muscles depend on it, and stem cells depend on it too. However, that's only one piece of the puzzle. Scientists eventually became interested in another question. If green tea influences healthy cells, could it also affect abnormal cellular environments? This question led researchers into one of the most complex areas of biology, cancer research. Now, it's important to understand something. Cancer is not a single disease. It involves many different biological processes, different tissues, different mutations, different mechanisms. That's why researchers avoid simplistic explanations. Yet scientists noticed that green tea compounds appear to influence several pathways associated with cellular growth and regulation. Evidence from laboratory studies suggested these compounds might interact with processes related to inflammation, angiogenesis, oxidative stress, and cellular signaling. One area received particular attention: angiogenesis. This is the process through which new blood vessels form. At first glance, angiogenesis sounds entirely beneficial, and often it is. Your body needs new blood vessels for healing, for recovery, for tissue maintenance, for exercise adaptation. Without angiogenesis, life would not be possible. But context matters. Researchers discovered that abnormal cells can sometimes exploit angiogenesis. They may attempt to recruit blood vessels that provide nutrients and oxygen. Scientists studying nutrition and cancer biology became interested in foods that appeared capable of influencing angiogenic balance. This concept became a major focus of research discussed by Dr. William Lee and many other scientists in the field. The goal is not to eliminate blood vessel formation. The goal is balance. Healthy tissues need healthy circulation. But researchers are interested in how dietary patterns may help support the body's natural regulatory systems. And green tea emerged as one of the foods most frequently investigated. Laboratory studies found that EGCG may influence signaling pathways involved in angiogenesis regulation. Researchers observed effects on molecules associated with blood vessel growth. This generated enormous scientific interest, not because green tea was viewed as a treatment, but because it highlighted how food components can interact with fundamental biological processes. And this changed the way many scientists thought about nutrition. For decades, Nutrition was often reduced to calories. Calories in, calories out. End of story. But modern research paints a much richer picture. Food doesn't just provide fuel, food provides information. Every meal contains signals that interact with genes, hormones, immune cells, blood vessels, and metabolic pathways. Green tea became one of the most compelling examples of this concept. Yet the real discovery came years later. Researchers began connecting these findings to metabolism. At first, this seemed unrelated. What do stem cells, blood vessels, and metabolism have in common? Quite a lot, as it turns out. Metabolism is far more than calorie burning. It influences inflammation, hormonal signaling, energy production, cellular repair, immune function, brain performance, and aging itself. Studies have found associations between green tea consumption and various metabolic markers. Researchers have explored its relationship with energy expenditure, glucose regulation, and body composition. The effects are generally modest rather than dramatic, but in longevity science, modest effects often matter. Because health outcomes are rarely determined by one massive event. They're shaped by thousands of small biological influences accumulating over decades. This is one reason researchers pay attention to dietary habits. A small benefit repeated every day for 20 years may become meaningful. And that's where green tea stands apart. Unlike exotic supplements that appear briefly and disappear, green tea has been consumed for centuries. Its safety profile is relatively well understood when consumed in typical dietary amounts. Its compounds have been extensively studied, and scientists continue uncovering new mechanisms that may explain its associations with healthy aging. But perhaps the most surprising discovery involves something happening inside your brain right now. Because while researchers were studying stem cells and metabolism, another group of scientists was investigating what green tea might be doing to cognitive function. And what they found opened an entirely new chapter in the story. When researchers turned their attention to the brain, they encountered a fascinating challenge. The human brain represents only a small percentage of total body weight, yet it consumes an enormous amount of energy. Every thought, every memory, every movement, every decision, all depend on billions of cells communicating continuously. This incredible activity creates metabolic demands that must be carefully managed throughout life. Scientists have long searched for dietary patterns associated with healthy cognitive aging, not because any food can stop aging, but because certain nutritional habits may help support brain resilience over time. Green tea quickly emerged as a candidate worth studying. One reason involves a unique compound called L-theanine. Unlike caffeine, which many people already know well, L-theanine has received far less public attention, yet researchers believe it may contribute to some of green tea's most distinctive effects. Studies suggest L-theanine can cross the blood-brain barrier and interact with brain activity in ways that may promote a state often described as calm alertness. This combination is unusual. Many substances increase alertness while also increasing feelings of tension. Others promote relaxation while reducing focus. Green tea appears to provide a different balance. Researchers have observed that the combination of caffeine and L-theanine may support attention, concentration, and mental performance in certain situations. And this is where the story connects back to aging. Because maintaining cognitive function isn't simply about avoiding decline. It's about supporting the biological systems that allow the brain to adapt, learn, and function efficiently throughout life. Scientists have become increasingly interested in neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize and form new connections. Although neuroplasticity changes with age, it never completely disappears. Your brain remains dynamic. It remains adaptable. It continues responding to lifestyle inputs. Nutrition is one of those inputs. Evidence suggests that compounds found in green tea may influence pathways involved in inflammation and oxidative stress within the nervous system. Researchers believe these effects may contribute to the broader relationship between dietary patterns and brain health. However, that's not the most intriguing part. The real surprise came when scientists began studying the connection between the brain and the immune system. For many years, researchers viewed these systems as largely separate. Today we know they are deeply connected. The immune system communicates with the brain, The brain communicates with the immune system, and both influence aging. Chronic low-grade inflammation has become a major focus of longevity research. Unlike the short-term inflammation that helps you recover from an injury, chronic inflammation can persist for years. Researchers believe it may contribute to many age-related changes throughout the body. This doesn't mean inflammation is bad. Inflammation is essential for survival. The issue is balance. Too little can impair defense. Too much can create problems. Scientists studying green tea found evidence suggesting its bioactive compounds may help support healthy inflammatory regulation. Again, the effects are not magical, they are not instant, but they may be meaningful when viewed as part of an overall healthy lifestyle. And this idea keeps appearing throughout the science. Not dramatic interventions, not miracle solutions, small influences accumulating over time. Most people never hear about what happened next. As researchers dug deeper into the biology of aging, they discovered that many seemingly unrelated systems were connected through common pathways: stem cells, blood vessels, immune cells, metabolism, brain function, all communicating, all influencing one another. This led scientists to focus on a concept known as health span. Health span differs from lifespan. Lifespan refers to how long you live. Health span refers to how long you remain healthy, active, and independent. This distinction is crucial. Many people don't simply want more years. They want more good years. More years of mobility, more years of mental clarity, more years of strength and vitality. Researchers now believe that healthy aging may depend on supporting multiple biological systems simultaneously. No single nutrient accomplishes this. No single exercise accomplishes this. No single supplement accomplishes this. Instead, healthy aging appears to emerge from thousands of daily interactions, and green tea may represent one small but interesting piece of that larger picture. Yet another discovery began attracting scientific attention. Researchers studying populations with exceptional longevity noticed something curious. The healthiest aging populations often shared several common behaviors. They moved regularly. They maintained social connections. They consumed nutrient-rich foods. They avoided excessive smoking. They managed stress, and many regularly consumed tea. Now, correlation does not prove causation. Scientists are careful about that distinction. People who drink green tea may also engage in other healthy behaviors. But even after accounting for many factors, researchers continued finding associations worth investigating. This encouraged more clinical studies, more laboratory studies, more long-term observations, and the evidence base continued growing. One area receiving particular attention involves cellular senescence. This is a term many people have never heard before, yet it may become one of the most important concepts in aging science. As cells age, some stop functioning optimally. Instead of dying and being cleared away efficiently, they can remain in tissues and release signals that affect neighboring cells. Researchers call these senescent cells. Scientists are actively exploring how lifestyle factors influence the accumulation of these cells. While this field remains complex and evolving, laboratory research has examined whether compounds found in green tea interact with pathways related to cellular aging and senescence. The results have generated considerable interest, not because all the answers are known, but because they suggest nutrition may influence aging processes at levels once thought impossible. And this is where the story takes another unexpected turn. Many people assume healthy aging begins in old age. Research suggests otherwise. The foundations of aging may be shaped much earlier. The choices made in your 40s, your 50s, even your 30s may influence how your body functions decades later. Think of it like compound interest. A small deposit made consistently can grow significantly over time. Health often works similarly. A nutritious meal today may seem insignificant. A walk today may seem insignificant. A good night's sleep may seem insignificant. One cup of green tea may seem insignificant. But biological systems respond to repeated inputs, day after day, month after month, year after year. Researchers studying longevity frequently emphasize this principle. Consistency often matters more than intensity. And that idea may be one of the most important lessons hidden within the science of green tea. Because many people search for extraordinary solutions, extraordinary supplements, extraordinary hacks, extraordinary shortcuts. Yet some of the most powerful health habits are surprisingly ordinary. They are repeatable, sustainable, accessible, and practiced for decades. However, before you rush to fill your kitchen with green tea, there are a few important realities to understand. First, more is not necessarily better. Many of the benefits associated with green tea have been observed with regular dietary consumption, not extreme intake. Second, green tea is not a replacement for medical care. It is not a treatment for cancer. It is not a substitute for prescribed therapies. It is not a guarantee against disease. The science is far more nuanced. Researchers study how dietary components interact with biological systems. They do not claim that a single food determines health outcomes. Third, context matters. A person who drinks green tea while maintaining healthy sleep, regular exercise, stress management, and a nutrient-rich diet is creating a very different biological environment than someone relying on a beverage alone. Scientists increasingly describe health as a network. Everything is connected. Nutrition influences metabolism. Metabolism influences inflammation. Inflammation influences cellular function. Cellular function influences aging. Aging influences disease risk, and all these systems communicate continuously. Green tea appears to interact with several points within that network. That is why researchers remain interested, not because it is magical, but because it is biologically active, and because its effects seem to extend across multiple systems relevant to healthy aging. As the science continues evolving, researchers are asking even bigger questions. Can dietary compounds help maintain regenerative capacity longer? Can nutrition support healthier cellular communication? Can food influence the environments in which cells operate? Can daily habits shape aging trajectories more than previously believed? Many of these questions remain under investigation, but one thing has become increasingly clear. The old view of food as merely fuel is disappearing. Modern science reveals something much more sophisticated. Food communicates. Food influences. Food interacts. Every meal sends information throughout the body. Every dietary pattern shapes biological responses. And over decades, those responses may help influence how we age. So what is the practical takeaway from everything we've explored today? If you enjoy green tea, current evidence suggests it can be part of a healthy lifestyle. Its catechins, including EGCG, have been extensively studied. Researchers have observed potential effects involving oxidative stress, blood vessel function, metabolism, inflammation, and cellular signaling. Scientists continue investigating how these mechanisms relate to stem cell biology, healthy aging, and disease prevention. The research remains ongoing. New discoveries continue emerging, and some of the most exciting findings may still lie ahead. Yet perhaps the greatest lesson isn't about green tea itself. It's about how health actually works. The body is not a collection of isolated organs. It is an interconnected ecosystem, a living network of cells communicating every second, a system constantly responding to the choices we make. Researchers studying longevity repeatedly arrive at a similar conclusion. Healthy aging is rarely the result of one dramatic decision. It is usually the result of countless small decisions repeated consistently over time. A nutritious breakfast, a daily walk, adequate sleep, meaningful relationships, stress management, regular movement, and perhaps, for some people, a cup of green tea. Individually, these choices may seem small. Collectively, they may shape the biological environment in which aging unfolds, and that may be the most powerful discovery of all. The decisions we make today may seem small, but over years and decades, those choices can shape how